Very good morning, students. Yesterday we discussed about or in the previous class we discussed about related to the wave optics. In that wave optics, see, we finished about a wave front, and in that wave front there are three types of wave fronts are there. One we can say plane wave front, and one more we can say spherical wave fronts, and one more we can say cylindrical wave fronts. So based on that, we also finished related to the plane wave front. By the plane wave front, refraction is completed. Yes, that plane wave front or the wave fronts are obeys the refraction property. The refraction is nothing but a sin I by sin r is equal to mu 2 with respect to 1. That is the propagating light from one medium to another medium. That is a refraction property that obeys which one? Plane wave front or the wave front. And coming to the next one, in the same way, another one also, that is about a reflection. Also reflection also obeys the plane wave front. Reflection property or the law of reflection will be angle of incident is equal to angle of refraction. That is also obeys the reflection property. Which one? Wave fronts. So the wave front is nothing but that is the locus of all vibrating particle in a given medium which are in the same phase with respect to the source. With respect to the source, we can call as the wave front. So that is we discussed and we finished in the earlier classes. So now let us will see the next one about a Doppler effect in a light. So this Doppler effect in a light is nothing but of course we know Doppler effect in a sound we know. Same, the statement is same. There is a change in frequency observed by the observer. In case of a Doppler effect in a sound, I am telling you, I want to recall you the statement. In case of a sound, when there is a sound wave, see, the sound is approaching the observer, because when train is moving, train is approaching the observer, therefore the frequency of a sound increases. When the train is leaving the platform, therefore the sound is decreases, frequency of a sound is decreases. So in the both the cases, the observer is observes the change in frequency, or we can call apparent frequency observed by the observer. The phenomena we can call as the Doppler effect in sound. Sir, what about in light? See, in case of a light, there is a Doppler effect. In case of a light is very simple. Here also same case. See, you say observer is at rest, therefore the source is moving towards an observer, source of light is moving towards an observer, or the source of light is moving away from the observer. In the both the cases, observer is at rest only. Both the cases, see, source is moving towards observer, that is we can say source of light. The light is moving towards an observer. When it is moving towards an observer, therefore intensity of a light is increases, intensity of a light, and as well as the wavelength is decreases, because the distance is decreases between the source and observer. There is a relative motion between the source and observer. And in the second case, when the source is moving away from the observer, in this case also observer is at rest. See, I will explain you in the proper way. See, here is the observer, you say observer, there is a source of light, you say like a star, like a sun, say, which emits the light, or you take a torch light. Best example, you take a torch light. Torch light is giving a light energy, therefore there will be a source is moving, this source is moving towards an observer, observer is at rest, source is moving towards an observer. In this situation, wavelength is decreases, because the distance between the source and observer, it is gradually decreases, but intensity of light is increases, of course. The focus of light is increases. So in this case, observer is at rest only, V naught is rest, and the Vs source is moving. This is the first case. And you take second case, again the source, right, and your observer is same, but the source is moving away from the observer. So in this case, there is a wavelength is increases, but intensity is decreases. So in the both the situation, observer is at rest only. Therefore, the intensity of a light is varying, or the wavelength is changing. there is a relative motion between the source of light and the observer. Therefore, the observer observes the change in wavelength and the change in intensity of a light. We can call as the Doppler effect. The phenomena we can call as the Doppler effect in case of a light. Because the light frequency changing, light intensity changing, wavelength also changing. So, there will be we can say intensity and wavelength and frequency is also changing. No, this phenomena we can call as the Doppler effect in case of a light. Source is moving, source of light is moving towards observer and the source of light is moving away from the observer. So, this case we can call as the Doppler effect in a light. Of course, there are two cases are there in this case. One we can say Doppler shift in this Doppler effect, one we can say blue shift. Blue shift, that we can say here is actually in this case we have two types of shifts are there. One we can say blue shift, one more we can say red shift. Sir, what is blue and what is red? See, suppose when the source moving towards an observer, nothing but a what? The distance between the source and observer is decreases. When there is a distance between the source and observer is decreases, that means the source is moving towards an observer. Therefore, the light is it is shifted in a spectral line. In a spectral line, in a spectrum, what will happen? That is shifted towards a blue end. The shift we can call as the blue shift. Very simple. Blue shift in the sense is a distance between the source and observer is decreases. Therefore, in a spectrum, therefore the light is towards, it is shifted towards a blue end. In a spectrum, it is shifted towards a blue end. This shift we can call as the blue shift when there is a distance between the source and your observer is decreases. We can call as the blue shift it is. Right? Blue shift when there is a distance is decreases. Therefore, in a spectrum, the rays, light rays, or it is shifted towards a blue end. That's what we can call blue shift. And here when the distance between the source and observer is increases. So, in this case when the distance between the source and observer increases, therefore, in a spectrum, the light is shifted towards a red end. We can call as the red shift. These are the two shifts are there. It is for 4 marks. Very simple. For 4 marks, we can take like this. First of all, we should write a definition, statement, Doppler effect in a light. That is, there is a relative motion between the source and observer. Therefore, that is, we can say there is a change in frequency or the change in wavelength is observed by the observer when the source is moving towards an observer or when the source is moving away from the observer. In the both the cases, there is a change in frequency and change in wavelength is observed by the observer. The phenomena we can call as the Doppler effect. Here, there are two shifts are there. One we can say Doppler shift, in this one we can say blue shift and one more we can say red shift. Sir, what is blue shift? It's nothing but the distance between the source and observer is decreases. When there is a distance between the source and observer is decreases, therefore, in a spectrum, the light rays is shifted towards a blue end. This shift we can call as the blue shift. And the distance between the source and observer is increases. Therefore, the rays which are shifted towards a red end in the spectrum, we can call as the red shift. This is for 4 marks. Very simple. And here in this case, now we have to find the apparent frequency because there is a change in frequency is nothing but we can call apparent frequency observed by the observer. In case of a blue shift and in case of a red shift, we have to get both the derivations in case of a apparent frequency. We know in case of a sound apparent frequency, that is only you take, see, apparent frequency for the calculation purpose. See, I was given one formula, that the formula will be n is equal to n naught into, or you say n dash is equal to n into, your wish. Whatever you want to you take, no problem, n dash into v minus v naught by v minus vs. See, it is apparent frequency relation in case of a sound. Of course, here also same we can take, which one? This is n is equal to n naught into v minus v naught by vs. V naught is nothing but observer velocity. Vs is nothing but a source velocity, which we can take like this. So, in case of a blue shift, because now we are saying about a blue shift now, in this case what happens? You take a blue shift. See, now we are finding the apparent frequency. Here the blue shift is observer is at rest, but whereas the source is moving towards a observer. Vs you take as a Vs because the light rays and source are in the same direction. You take a velocity V is equal to C because it is a light velocity, L-I-G-H-T you take. It is a light velocity. Therefore, here you write in this apparent frequency N naught into V is nothing but you say C minus 0 by here it is C minus Vs because it is plus no, then N is equal to N naught into C by C minus Vs. This is the apparent frequency observed by the observer in case of a what it is, in case of a blue shift. Yes, of course, we can also simplify like this. So we can take like this also, that is N is equal to N naught into 1 by C minus Vs by C. So N is equal to N naught into 1 by 1 minus Vs by C. So this is the final expression for the blue shift. So this is what it is. We can say blue shift final, or else you want to take a like this also. N is equal to N naught into this is you take up 1 minus it is a Vs by C whole power minus 1. If you apply binomial theorem, there will be minus will come here 1 plus Vs by C. This is in case of a what it is, blue shift it is. Clear? And coming to the red shift, let us will see about a red shift. That is a red shift will be here. See, source and observer again you take. Yes, source and observer. Source is moving away from, but the light ray is moving towards a observer. In this case, source and both are in the opposite direction. Observer will be V0 will be 0. Of course, is at rest no, so that in the both the blue shift and as well as the red shift is at rest only, right? See, in that case we can take only rest. So here it is again apparent frequency N is equal to N naught into V minus V naught by V minus Vs. Here both are in the opposite because source is moving and the rays are moving towards an observer. Now you write here apparent frequency will be V minus, it is we can take 0 by V minus, it is plus Vs, and here V instead of you take velocity of a light is C. So C it is also you C, then N is equal to N naught into C by C plus Vs. Here you take apparent frequency will be 1 by C plus Vs by C. Therefore, N is equal to N naught into 1 by 1 plus Vs by C. Again you take up, it is denominator is there no, then N is equal to N naught into 1 plus Vs by C whole power minus 1. Then N is equal to N naught into 1 minus Vs by C. This is the apparent frequency observed by the observer in the both the case. One is the blue shift and one more is the red shift. So like this it is related to the Doppler effect in case of a light. In case of a light year. And of course here there is another formula is there for Doppler effect, that is in case of a apparent frequency observed by the observer. So we can also take like this, the formula will be, I will give you directly, that is there is a change in frequency observed now. So that here we can take like this, the fraction of change in frequency, that we can say the fraction of change in frequency which we can take directly, not required any derivation. It is for blue shift and red shift, the derivations are like this, and you go for the fractional change in frequency, that is the apparent change in frequency. Here in this case you write like this, the note it is for the problems it is required a fractional change in frequency, apparent frequency, that is delta n by n is equal to minus V radial by, right? You say here V radial by, it is V radial by C. Sir, what is V radial? So the V radial is nothing but the component of velocity of source. See, V radial becomes the component of source of light along the line joining the observer and source. The component of source V radial is nothing but the component of source, and it is along the line joining the source and observer. It is the calculation purpose we can take delta n by n apparent change in frequency or the fractional change in frequency, and therefore we can take like this, delta n by n is equal to V radial by radial. Okay, therefore here we can say the line joining the source and observer, which we can take like this. Clear? It is for what it is? Apparent frequency, change in apparent frequency for case of a Doppler effect. And here there is another one is there. In general, we can also see this effect, Doppler effect, we can see in the radar system. Sir, what is a radar? It is nothing but a radio detection. You remember? Radio detection and ranging. Radar, R-A-D-A-R. D-A-R. Radar expansion will be, it is also for 2 marks. Sir, what is radar? Radar in the sense is, it is used to find the speed of a aeroplanes or the location of aeroplanes. Radar signals. Generally we can see in the navigation purpose, for the purpose of navigation. Therefore, it is the, we can also expand like this, R-A-D-A-R. Radar is nothing but it is a radio detection and ranging. Radio detection and ranging, so that it is used to find the speed of the aeroplanes, and also it is used to find the position of aeroplanes or location of aeroplanes, so that it is a system which works on the principle of Doppler effect of a light. Clear? It is a radar is nothing but we can say radio detection and ranging. It is a device to determine the position and velocity of an aeroplane. It is a device which used to find the position and velocity of a aeroplanes. Clear? It is about a Doppler effect in case of a light. So this is actually for 4 marks, and it is very, very important. And coming to the next one, actually in case of a wave optics, here we should know about a interference, because light should obey the properties. No, in that already 3 properties are over in the previous chapter, that is the rectilinear propagation. One more we can say reflection and refraction. Of course, here also we discussed about a reflection and refraction also by the plane wave front. Now coming to the other are there, that is we can say one is interference, one more we can say diffraction, and one more we can say polarization. So these also properties related to the light. See, before going to discuss about interference and diffraction and polarization, I will tell you there is other one is there. In general, there are 2 types of sources are there. See, sources are 2 types. One we can say coherent source. Sir, what is mean by coherent source? The coherent source is nothing but the source emitting the light without any change in phase difference. Without any change in the phase with respect to time, that does not changes the phase. So that the type of sources which we can call as the coherent source. See, you remember, it emits the constant phase difference. The sources are 2 types. One we can say coherent, C-O-H-E-R-E-N-T, coherent. There are 2 types. You say coherent is one. Coherent, and one more we can say incoherent. These are the 2. Coherent in the senses, the source which emits the light waves without any change in phase difference, or we can say that does not emit the change of frequencies or does not emit the change of wavelength with constant phase difference, or we can say phase difference is 0. The source which emits the waves, which we can call as the coherent wave, and the type of source we can call as the coherent source. Sir, what about incoherent? Incoherent in the sense is the source emits the wave, light waves, and it is changes the phase difference with respect to time. The phase is changes, as well as the wavelength is changes, as well as the frequency also changes. The source we can call as the incoherent source, and the emitted by the source we can call as the incoherent wave. In general, here we will use only coherent sources, because here we require only without any change in frequencies or without any change in phase difference. Say for the purpose of interference, because there is a coherent sources are required. When there is a coherent sources emits the light waves, when the light waves are traveling along the same direction, right? Coming to the point is, I want to tell you, see about a coherent waves, and there is a principle of superposition. I'll explain you. Already we know principle of superposition because we discussed in the first chapter. In the first chapter I told you very clear about a principle of superposition. Once again we'll see the principle of superposition. In general, two sources which are emitting a light wave, it is for principle of superposition of a coherent waves. You take a two waves, say one source, it is a source 1, you take a second source, both are emitting a light waves which are traveling along the same direction without any phase difference, you remember, because that are emitting a coherent wave. Coherent wave in the sense is there is no change in the phase and the phase difference is 0, or we can call as the constant phase is emitting. So the two waves are traveling along the same direction because almost same wavelength, almost same frequencies. So that definitely what happens, they overlap. See, at a one point they overlap, therefore the resultant wave is redistributed. The wave is redistributed. One place it is maximum wavelength will get, or maximum amplitude will get, and another places will get the minimum wavelength or minimum intensity of light will get. The maxima minima we can call as a, here it is we can call as the interference, the maxima minima. Same also we discussed in the Doppler effect. In case of a sound, when two sound waves are traveling, when they overlap, therefore that combined to give, or beats. In beats I told you, the way two waves are traveling in the same direction, when they overlap, therefore at one place it gives a maximum sound and one place it gives a minimum sound. Same here also, the two waves are traveling in the same direction which are in the same phase, there is no change in the phase difference. When they overlap, therefore they combine to give a resultant wave. The redistribution of wave gives, the redistribution of wave we can call, one place it is maximum, another place we can call minimum intensity. So that this wave we can call as the interference, it is interfering the two waves. Let us you take a two waves, I'll give you a small derivation, not in detail, I'll give you, at least we should know what is happening in this. See, y1 is equal to a1 sin omega t plus pi, it is the first one you take. See, for what it is, first wave you take, it is a phase difference is pi 1, and second you take, it is a sin omega t plus pi 2, almost the same. So resultant is represented according to the principle of superposition, we can take as the sum of two waves, that is y1 plus y2. You add this, that is mathematical approach is there. I'll give you little different derivation part, sin omega t plus pi 1 plus a2 sin omega t plus, of course it is pi 2. So sin a plus b we know, apply that rule, y is equal to a1, you take sin omega t cos pi 1 plus, here it is a cos omega t sin pi 1, this is for first one. You go for the second also, a2 of sin omega t cos pi 2 plus cos omega t sin pi 2. Of course, now you multiply with a1 and here also multiply with the a2. Therefore, y is equal to a1 sin omega t cos pi 1 plus a1 cos omega t sin pi 1 plus, here also you multiply, it is becomes like this. See the simple multiplication, here it is, so sin pi 2. See, after this multiplication, let us here we should write a, we can assume like this, from this you take a1 cos pi 1 plus a2 cos pi 2. Let us assume like this, I want to tell you, let a1 cos pi 1 plus a2 cos pi 2 is equal to, you say, it is a cos pi. Shall I? So this is one, assume like this, and you take second also, a1 sin pi, a1 sin pi you take plus a2 sin pi 2 is equal to a sin pi, it is equation 1 you say, equation 2. Say in this, let you replace that, which one, a1 cos pi 1 plus a2 cos pi 2 if you replace this with a cos pi. So that it is a little derivation is there, it is not required. If you substitute also no problem, but actually we require only this. From here let us will continue. Now let us you do think one thing, 1 square plus 2 square, square and add. So two expressions to square and add, what will happen here? Here it is a square cos square pi plus a square sin square pi is equal to, here also will get a1 cos pi 1 plus a2 cos pi 2 whole square plus a1 sin pi 1 plus a2 sin pi 2 whole square. Of course, here a square sin square pi plus cos square pi is equal to 1. You take a square is equal to, here actually we can take here, see a plus b whole square, here also you take a plus b whole square. After taking a plus b whole square, now I am giving direct expression which is not required here. We will get like this directly, a1 square plus a2 square plus 2a1 a2 cos pi 1 minus pi 2 will get like this. So this is the final expression after applying a plus b whole square, here also a plus b whole square, then we will get the expression to be like this. Therefore the resultant amplitude will be root over a1 square plus a2 square plus 2a1 a2 cos pi, you take that pi in the sense is pi 1 minus pi 2 or which is equal to delta pi. So this is the resultant amplitude. So here we can also take, already we know in the first chapter I told you, that is I directly proportional to a square. Or you remember this, amplitude is directly proportional or square of the amplitude directly proportional. So that we can say I is equal to I1 plus I2 plus 2 root I1 I2 cos. This is related to the intensity and amplitude of a coherent waves. When two coherent waves are traveling in the same direction with almost the same frequency, therefore we will get the like this, right. So it is about a by using a coherent wave. So this is the resultant amplitude. See, one place will get a maximum intensity and another place will get the minimum intensity. Sir, when will get the maximum intensity? Of course that we have to get when will get the maximum intensity and when will get the minimum intensity. So the maximum case we can say that pi value is very important in this. So whatever here it is there, no, this pi value is a very important. I will tell you that maximum because it is there in the interference also. Because interference is nothing but when two waves are traveling in the same direction, when they overlap, therefore at a one place it is gives a maximum intensity, one place is minimum. Maximum minima is nothing but interference. So that when we will get the maximum by using a coherent wave, when we will get the minimum by using a coherent wave, that we can say maximum amplitude or we can say maximum intensity. Sir, of course I will give you that maximum. For maximum, look at here, cases will be like this. We can take case, say for maximum condition, so when we will get the maximum, here only depends on the value of pi, that is pi 1 minus pi 2 is equal to, if it is 2n pi, you say like this. If it is for 2n pi, that n value you take as 1 or you say 0, 1, 2, 3. Therefore pi value will be, suppose you take a 0, then we will get the 0, next one 2 pi, next one 4 pi, next one like it is 6 pi and so on it is will get. Up to what? We can take as the 2n pi. So the values are like this. Therefore the resultant amplitude will be, it is a square is equal to, there you write a1 square plus a2 square plus 2a1 a2, you take cos 0, of course pi value 0, it is 1. So a square is equal to, we can say a1 plus a2 whole square. So a is equal to a1 plus a2. This is the condition for maximum intensity, maximum amplitude or we can say maximum intensity. What about in terms of intensity? Of course root I is equal to root I1 plus. So this is for maximum intensity condition. Sir, when we will get the minimum? Of course again you take minimum condition. Here the value of pi, that is pi 1 minus pi 2, because it is there in the interference again. If you know the conditions very well, then we can do better performance in the interference concept. Interference, that's what. You take next one. Let us pi is equal to pi 1 minus pi 2. We can say pi comma 3 pi comma and 5 pi comma and so on it is. there will be like this 2n minus 1 into pi. So suppose these values if you take in an expression, a square is equal to a1 square plus a2 square plus 2a1 a2 cos pi. Suppose you say 90, cos 90 will be 0. So that will get a1 square. Therefore, a is equal to root over a1 square plus, it is for minimum condition we can say. What this is? It is for minimum condition. Like it is we can take as the minimum, that we can say minus. So that here cos 180, sorry I am sorry to say cos 180 will get minus, it is a1 a2. So here it is a1 minus a2 whole square, you cancel it, a is equal to a1 minus a2. This is we can call as the minimum condition. Suppose I want to say in terms of intensity, therefore root I1 minus root I2. These two are, one is maximum condition and one more is the minimum condition for the intensities. Clear? So this is related to what? It is for the superposition of waves when they are traveling in the same direction for coherent waves. Right? So this is the today's class, and we'll see in the next class with continuation of this topic. Thank you very much.